Okay, so what I want to talk about today is something I call the onion effect. And I'm going to tell you the reason I call it that was because that was the first time I really became aware of it. And it was several years ago. But it was a dog named Onion. It was I want to say it was like a Mastiff Ridgeback mix. And they had documented a year of this child's life in pictures with Onion. Onion belonged to the grandmother. And it was parents that weren't together, and on the baby's 1-year-old birthday, he came to stay with the father. They had a big party and everything, and that night, they, instead of putting the baby in the crib, put the baby on the floor next to Onion, where the baby had slept and done all these things. And I don't know whether they knew for sure what happened, but regardless, the sister-in-law entered the room to find Onion violently shaking the baby by the head, literally dislocated the jaw from the, separated the jaw from the, and killed the kid. And instead of the dog just being put down, the Lexus Project, which is this group that fights for dogs' rights, intervened. They kept this dog alive, and as far as I know, it's still alive. And that was 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. Anyway, but what happened yesterday, you're gonna have to let my boxer in. My boxer can't stand to be away from me. On a third floor apartment in Sanford, 4 or 5 pit bulls. And there's a picture of one. It's a pretty blue pit. I mean, this is what people like to get for pets. Mauled this woman, and I can guarantee these injuries are horrific. I'm afraid to even ask Jessica if Joshua was working, because I don't even want to know what you'd have to experience seeing this. This is one, you get mauled by one of these dogs. I mean, what people need to understand, and let me say, I'm not anti-pit bull. I've owned tons of pit bulls. I train a ton of pit bulls, but I'm a realist, and I've seen them in action. So we're talking about broken bones. I don't want you guys to go on there and look, but there's a video on Live Leak where these 2 pit bulls get a hold of this, and it's in South America because they've got a huge pit bull problem down there, get a hold of this, you know, probably street dog or something through a fence with bars like this, 2 of them. They tear its leg off. They literally tear its leg. I don't even want you to go look at it. You know, and they've torn it open, and the dog is clearly in shock. I mean, in some ways, the most upsetting thing about that was the lack of, it was guys. I mean, it was the young guys. They were spraying these pit bulls with hoses. They did at least intervene, but, you know, I mean, I guess you would maybe just be in shock. You would not be able to know how to deal with it. But anyway, so what's happened is now on the news. There's a picture of this pit bull, and I'll take the picture and post it, and it looks like a well cared for, big, pretty blue pit. But instead of feeling sorry, it's rabid victim blaming. And let me show you some of the comments. And that's what I call the onion effect. Instead of, it's a lack of humanity. It is a lack of humanity. If you said to me, you don't love dogs by virtue of anything you've ever done with your life, I'd laugh and laugh, you know. And if you said you're afraid of pit bulls, I'd laugh and laugh. I mean, you know, that one aggressive pit bull video on my, you know, I mean, I'm kind of a guy's girl, and I mean, that's, you know, these guy dog trainers, I mean, they like that kind of thing. And I'm not afraid of pit bulls. I'm a realist, though. The reality of it is, and it's the same thing with that little bulldog of mine. They attack with a velocity, ferocity, and tenacity that you do not see in other breeds. That's the truth, and it ends up being genetic loading. I talked about that. You know, if you said there was not a gene for aggression, I'd laugh and laugh. They've got one in people. It's called a warrior gene. I call it genetic loading on these dogs. Fred. Fred, on the other hand, you know, like Fred. I mean, Fred has bitten people, but they're not ever going to be grievous, life-threatening injuries. You're going to have to get that little dog.
Found in the sanctuary.
Anyway, that's the Onion effect, where there's such a lack of humanity that they would find a reason to feel sorry for a pit bull. And I found that this runs out when it's their own family member, but it's a very strange phenomenon. If a person attacked a child or did anything, there's a Facebook page. Go on there and look. It's the Lexus Project, and I'm going to find a link to that Onion story. You know, it's medieval. You can't have dogs doing that to people. There's a line. The officers witnessed a bloodbath. I need to ask Helen if she knows any of these cops that responded to this dog attack. Yeah, life-threatening injuries. I'm actually surprised she's still alive. Residents came home to commotion. Anyway, that's what I call the Onion effect, and it's a very strange phenomenon. I'm honestly, I'm flatline about it. I'm not, and I did make a few comments to this woman because all she could say was, yeah, and poor dogs. There's more to this story, and the reality of that is people like that, when they're attacked, they're the first ones to, the pendulum swings the other direction. My view on the pit bulls is you better be front and center, and you better be aware which individuals in that gene pool are a clear and present danger. You had better be aware of it. If you're a dog trainer, you had better be aware of it. And I would say you're at greatest risk from intact males between 2 and 5 years old, but because of genetic loading and testosterone-laden females in that breed, that really doesn't apply. In German Shepherds, yeah, there's a reason most cops have, intact males. And there are some female police dogs, but not, again, these guys are looking for big testosterone-laden males. That's part of, I think what people need to understand is that's what part of what helps these individuals cross that line of what we would consider bounds of normal behavior and inflict grievous injury and death, even on other animals. I mean, I don't even like dogs that kill cats. When they see these, put these dogs on Facebook, and then they'll excuse away, it's the cat's fault. I swear to God, it's the cat's fault. And I say, it's easy to, not place any value on the life of a cat until it's your cat. So, they do it with cats, they do it with kids. There was a little boy out in Texas that was just jigsaw puzzled. And people raised thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for the dog, for this pit bull. Not the little boy, the pit bull. So I don't really know what to make of it. Karma is getting them right and left. There's already, as of this month, been 2 fatal attacks by pit bulls. And do I think all pit bulls are bad? No. Am I afraid of pit bulls? Do I think that there are any what you could consider reputable pit bull breeders? No, I don't. Do I think the pit bull club is a body that's helping its breed and promoting its breed? No, I don't. Do I think it's a breed that needs a messiah? Yes, I do. It needs a messiah to appear, but it's not going to happen, unless it was, maybe some movie star, Sean Penn. Even then he'd have naysayers, to say that we're going to have to set a standard. If you want to register these dogs with whoever it is they register them with, UKC or ADBA or whatever, you're going to have to get performance titles on them. And they're going to have to pass temperament tests, because if not, you're going to get genetic loading like velociraptors. I've seen it in action. Don't make me go find pull that card on that guy that had that dog Bull. I mean, it inflicted grievous injury on a couple dogs around here. That's how I learned the only way to stop a pit bull is with a garrote. And you see, and that life lesson, I taught to Ricky, and he worked. Anyway, guys, the onion effect. Bye, guys.